Miata. It is always the answer. But usually the question is, what's a cheap, reliable sports car that's perfect for everything from autocross to drifting? You know, one that gets good gas mileage, has curb appeal, and can be modified for cheap. Well, Miata has entered the chat. But today on Blinker Fluid, the question is more like, what's going to be the last enthusiast car? Yes, before they go extinct like the dinosaurs. And we all adopt the electric revolution. Okay, real quick, let's face it. It's a tough time for car lovers. I know, I get it. I am one, just like you. And since we can all see the writing on the walls, regardless of whether or not you think EVs are terrible to drive, the average person is gaga for them. Heck, I'm even thinking about selling my fire-spitting Safari 911 for one of those Taycan Cross Turismos that sound like a Dyson vacuum. I mean, our friend and fellow YouTuber Matt Farah spent 1,700 miles with the Ford Mustang Mach-E, which, yes, I get it, it's cringy that it's called a Mustang. But when he wrote the article about his experience, he said, after a week with an electric Ford Mustang Mach-E, my wife Hannah and I were sold on it as our next daily driver. And see, here's the issue. More and more people are looking to adopt EVs every single day. And in turn, that means car companies are following that money. Because if EVs make you a full $100 bill, this is how much ICE cars are going to make them. I can't believe I just did this. So yes, we've all witnessed the blue oval taking the Mustang to the dark side. And while there is a new ICE Mustang coming out soon, Ford doesn't seem to care much about it anymore. Instead, they just want to win the electric truck war for good. The Lightning, yeah, it's awesome. And don't get me wrong, I love it, but I'm gonna miss seeing crowd control stickers at every car meets, just like you. Hey, pony car coming up. Everybody get ready to dodge it. I mean, check this out. Porsche invested $75 million into synthetic e-fuels to create a carbon neutral product for our fossil fuel burning machines. But 75 mil, ladies and gents, is a drop in the bucket. The big payoff is when they kill our hopes and dreams with both a Boxster / Cayman that is electrified and then putting more R&D into the Taycan, and then the entire 911 program after that, which fortunately makes a whole lot of sense because last year it did finally happen, guys. The Porsche Taycan outsold the 911 in 2021, which means the 911 will probably be going electric sooner than we all hope. Plus, the WRX is on the chopping block, with Subaru not even making an STI until they come out with an EV STI. And even Toyota, who just released the oh so amazing GR Corolla, which you can see what we think about it on this Ideal Blinker Fluid vid, is already plotting to take their EV platform global in the next few short years, and then stop making ICE cars altogether. So yes, the future that I just painted is looking pretty grim, and I'm no Picasso. But hold up, what's that? Enter Mazda and the legendary MX-5. Okay guys, real quick, do you know what else is always the answer? Knowing why your scary little check engine light is on. And if you're like me, you hate wondering what that scary little light means when it's illuminated. Luckily, fixed right here. Today's sponsor is here to save the day. Simply just plug this little guy into your OBD2 port, connect it to your phone, and instantly you know what is up. Take advantage of 67% off by clicking the link in the description and supporting the sponsors that support us. Because, well, we have them all in our cars here at Ideal, and you should too. Okay, back to Mazda, which is always the answer, which everywhere except the US is called the MX-5, but here we call it the Miata. See, Mazda hasn't really been jumping into the EV world. And yeah, they've been getting their feet wet with hybrids like the MX-30, but so far their focus has been on making driver's cars. Honestly, I sometimes forget that they make enjoyable cars to drive until I have to rent a CX-5 and suddenly I'm like, oh yeah, it's a surprisingly fun to drive crossover. Now, obviously, Mazda does have to throw red meat to the wolves, so to speak. They can't remain ICE only forever. In fact, by 2030, which is coming up, guys, they won't have any cars that only have an internal combustion engine. Every car will have some sort of hybridization. And don't get me wrong, that's not a bad thing. After all, it works for some really terrible cars like the McLaren P1, the Ferrari 296 GTB, and the quote slow unquote Porsche 918. I mean, let's all face it, a Miata with an extra 100 horsepower from an electric motor would be sweet. And I don't know about you, but a 300 horsepower manual rear wheel drive go-kart seems heavenly. When everyone else around us is abandoning us, Mazda is here. And it's not the story that I would expect, but I'll take it. At least, hopefully. I mean, word on the street is that I'm not just making fantasies up. Mazda really is keeping the Miata a driver-focused, amazing car. But Mazda is being a little too secretive for me, and probably you too, because no one knows what's going on behind the closed doors. See, there aren't really many official statements from Mazda. I mean, they did say that only 25% of their cars would be fully electric. To me, that means that the Miata, well, it should be safe. A bunch of batteries would not make for a fun drop top. But according to this article, the only thing Mazda actually said is, all models will feature a form of electrification. We will work hard to make it lightweight. Yeah. That does not sound like a very good thing. But in an interview with Autocar UK, the head of Mazda hinted that they may be wavering at even that promise. He quoted as saying that the preference of people who enjoy driving sports cars might be changing. And guys, I don't know if it's true. It just sort of feels like the companies are deciding for us what our preferences are.
First time.
And then just telling us what we have to eat for dinner rather than asking us what we like. And that is where you and I and everyone that's an enthusiast that loves sports cars comes in. Like I said in the beginning, car companies only care about one thing. Well, two things: money and more money. So if Mazda comes out with a gas-powered Miata in the middle of the EV revolution, we need to vote with our wallets. We need to make an attempt to go buy it to prove that it's what enthusiasts still want, instead of another lame electric crossover with a sport mode, you know, or okay, I have the crazy hat on. Maybe an electric two-seater that can handle the twisties like nothing else is what we actually really want. So don't flame me, hear me out on this. Mazda might be right. If you could get all the engagement of a lightweight sports car with the top down, rear wheel drive, maybe with motors tuned to make driving a lot more engaging, wouldn't that actually be awesome? It's not like a Miata sounds particularly amazing as it is. So, you know, if they did it right, maybe an electric Miata is the answer. And it's not a fight against gas power that Mazda is waging. It's a war against boring, crappy, unaffordable electric cars. Time will tell. So let me know in the comments if you would get an electric Miata if it were affordable and reliable and cheap, or would you refuse to change? Still be driving that '01 Civic until you die. All I know is that this has been Ideal. Be sure to check out our other blinker fluid videos over here. I'm Brad, this is Ideal, and promise me one thing, keep living the ideal lifestyle.